Hey everyone, welcome back to another cozy episode of 5 Minute English Practice. Today might run a little longer than usual because we're going really deep into something I bet a lot of you think about more often than you'd like to admit. What it actually feels like to go a whole day without coffee. I'm Jessica, and sitting right here with me is my best friend Lisa. We've known each other since university. Survived way too many all-nighters, endless deadlines, and probably far too many emergency coffee runs together. Lisa, thank you for coming back.
Thanks for having me again. I'm excited and also a tiny bit nervous because today we're basically going to confess our entire coffee relationship to the world.
Exactly. So let's just jump right in with the most honest question I can think of. When was the last time you went a full 24 hours with zero caffeine?
About 2.5 months ago, I actually did it on purpose that time. I read this long post by a neuroscientist explaining how caffeine blocks adenosine receptors, and I thought, okay, maybe I should actually experience what my brain feels like when it's not getting propped up every few hours. I managed 3 full days. Day 1 was surprisingly okay, just a mild headache by evening. Day 2 was brutal. Terrible headache, super irritable. I even cried because the Wi-Fi was slow. By day 3, I was still tired and foggy, but something started to change. My energy felt flatter, but also way more even.
That flatter but even feeling. I've heard so many people say exactly the same thing once they get past the worst part. But let's be real first. Those early days are rough. Most people quit on day 1 or 2. What did it actually feel like in your body?
It was intense. The headache wasn't just annoying, it was this deep, throbbing pain behind my eyes that barely responded to painkillers. My whole body felt heavy, like moving through water. My brain kept going blank mid-sentence. I couldn't find words. Everything annoyed me, even tiny things. My neck and shoulders were so stiff. And the craving? It wasn't only for the buzz. I missed the smell of the beans, the warmth of the mug in my hands, that whole morning moment.
That craving for the ritual is what really gets people, I think. It's not only the caffeine. Let me explain quickly what's happening in the brain so it makes sense when you're suffering. Caffeine is an adenosine blocker. All day long, adenosine builds up in your brain. It's a natural signal that says, "You've been working hard, time to slow down." Caffeine sits in the receptors and stops adenosine from landing there, so you don't feel how tired you actually are. But when you drink coffee every day, your brain makes more receptors to try to balance things out. Then, when you suddenly stop, all that stored up adenosine floods in and hits way more receptors than normal. That's why you get slammed with exhaustion, brain fog, and that awful pounding headache. Because the blood vessels in your brain open up wider without caffeine, keeping them slightly tighter. For most people, the worst hits between 24 and 48 hours after the last cup. After about 3 to 7 days, the physical withdrawal usually eases up a lot.
That timeline matches exactly what I felt. Day 2 and most of day 3 were the hardest. But then on the evening of day 3 and especially day 4, I started feeling lighter. My sleep got so much deeper, I was having vivid dreams again. And I didn't get that sharp afternoon crash anymore. The energy was just steadier, even if it wasn't super high.
That steadier energy is one of the biggest things people notice when they take a real break. A lot of people say they sleep better, feel less anxious, don't get that wired but tired feeling anymore. And sometimes their thinking even feels clearer once the fog lifts. Some people also notice their stomach feels calmer since coffee can be pretty acidic. But of course, there are things you miss too.
Yeah, for me, the hardest part wasn't even the headache. It was the morning feeling empty. Coffee wasn't just caffeine for me. It was the sound of the grinder, the smell filling the kitchen, holding a warm mug with both hands, that first sip that makes the day feel possible. Without it, mornings felt hollow. I didn't know how to start the day anymore.
I totally get that. That's why so many people who cut back on caffeine still keep the warm drink habit. Decaf, herbal tea, matcha, golden milk, even just hot water with lemon. They miss the comfort and the little moment of care more than the actual stimulant. And lately, I've been realizing something else. Sometimes that afternoon coffee isn't about needing energy. Sometimes it's about avoiding boredom or stress or feeling overwhelmed or just not wanting to admit I'm burned out. When there's no caffeine to smooth it over, those feelings get loud. You actually have to sit with them. It's uncomfortable, but it's also kind of valuable.
Exactly. By day 4 and 5, I kept catching myself thinking, do I really need to keep working right now? Or am I scared to stop? Why am I so irritated? What am I not dealing with? It forced me to check in with myself in a way I hadn't done in a long time.
So, after going through all of that, would you do it again? Or maybe even think about cutting way back for good?
I would definitely do a short reset again, maybe 5 to 7 days, 2 or 3 times a year, just to let my system recalibrate. But I don't want to quit coffee forever. I love it too much, the taste, the smell, the way it makes ordinary moments feel special, especially when I'm sharing it with friends. What I do want is to drink it more intentionally. Maybe go from 3 or 4 cups down to 1 or 2 really good ones and actually notice why I'm reaching for it.
I feel the same way. I think the healthiest middle ground for people who really enjoy coffee is something like this. Don't drink it too late so you protect your sleep. Mostly drink it because you love it rather than to survive the day. Give your brain an occasional longer break to reset and really listen when your body is asking for rest instead of another cup.
Yes. I've also been trying to build new little morning anchors that don't depend on caffeine. Lately, I light a candle, play soft music, and write one short sentence in my journal before I touch my phone. It's small, but it helps me feel like the day is starting gently.
That sounds so nice. Okay, before we wrap up, we want to leave you with a few gentle ideas to try whenever you feel curious. Maybe do one full day with no caffeine at all, just to see what happens. Or if that feels too big, try cutting caffeine off after lunch for a whole week and notice how your sleep changes. Or replace one coffee with something warm and comforting. Herbal tea, decaf, hot chocolate, whatever feels good. And every now and then, when you're about to make a cup, just pause and ask yourself, am I drinking this because I want it? Or because I need it to feel okay? No pressure, no judgment at all. Coffee is wonderful. We're just trying to understand our own relationship with it a bit better.
Big hug to everyone who's ever stood in the kitchen staring at an empty coffee jar at 7 in the morning.
So true. Okay, everyone. We really want to hear from you. Have you ever tried a full day, a week, or even longer without coffee? What surprised you the most? What was the hardest part? Or maybe the best unexpected change? Drop your stories in the comments. We read every single one, and it's great English practice too.
Thank you for letting me ramble about my complicated coffee feelings today.
Thank you, Lisa. You're always the best person to talk about this stuff with. And thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us today. Whether you're holding a warm coffee right now, sipping tea, or bravely going caffeine-free, We see you, and you're doing great. Take good care of yourselves. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.